What's up guys, Matty here from DCL Blogger. Holy crap, Virtual Land is crushing today, was crushing every day over the last 3 to 4 days. Wanted to go through what the hell is going on and what to look out for into the future. So in this specific video, let's go through the Sandbox vs Decentraland, two of arguably the biggest metaverse projects right now in the space. What's the differences, what's the sort of benefits, and sort of what's going on with each one. So first off, let's start with Sandbox. Sandbox is this massive play-to-earn universe which started off about a year after Decentraland did, and they started building and slowly selling sections of their overall map. So you can see so far they've sold about 101,000 lands. They're still selling other sections slowly. So you can see here how they recently announced Adidas, and so they'll probably be selling this section next. So they've been doing this over the last 3 years, and I think at the start, lands were selling for about 50 bucks. Now the cheapest land is about $10,000, right? So what is the Sandbox? Well, if you jump into the Sandbox, you're basically going to see, whoops, here we go. Sandbox, you're going to see this, right? It's sort of like a Minecraft on blockchain. You can own land and build it on your lands, build sort of games, play to earn mechanics, trade assets, whether it be characters or cars, etc. On the land. So you can see how people have built sort of things, and you can import that on your land. So let's see if we can kind of find worlds that people have built. So here's something really damn cool. Dance in the Metaverse Club XYZ. You can see people are beta testing building clubs and all sorts of things where you can bring your people and do experiences. So that's what the Sandbox is. Now Decentraland started about a year earlier, and they started off with a massive map, and you can buy a plot of land on the map. They don't have logos here, which is one frustrating thing about DCL. You don't really know where anyone is until you jump in and try and find them. So they got that, but people since launch, so they've been launched over the last 2 years or so, and since launch, people have been putting up events and jumping inside Decentraland and doing all sorts of stuff. So you can see November 28th, 29th, December 1st, people upload events, 743 people that sign up to this event. So Decentraland is actually being used. People are jumping into Decentraland. It's all 3D. If you go into Decentraland, you're going to probably see stuff like this. You kind of walk around. I mean, there's very polygonal sections behind, but you can get really crazy. You can see people that build parties, all sorts of stuff in 3D, all sorts of things. So you can buy your land, build sort of clubs, casinos, virtual worlds, conferences, all sorts of things. Even if we go to Decentral Games, so Decentral Games over here, you can see Decentral Games has a casino. You can go in there and gamble real money. You know, Decentraland has been slowly upgrading their graphics and getting to a point where eventually they're going to go to VR. So there was a teaser the other day where Fede, who is the marketing lead for Decentraland, put out a tweet. And his tweet was him toying around with VR, which looked pretty damn cool. Let's see if we can find that tweet. Where are you, Fede? I'll find you. There he is. So Fede put out this tweet. He said, heating up, and he's got himself in VR checking out Decentraland. I think that's the last missing piece to really take DCL next level. So there is some major differences. Obviously, aesthetically, they're different. Virtual world, land-wise, they're different. For example, in Decentraland, you can walk across each other's lands. You can see what's going on in each other's lands. In the Sandbox, it's not like that. In the Sandbox, they're kind of stuck instances. So you'll build, so in the map, in each little tile, you can't really see what's going on next door. You'll have to teleport to the next sort of game. So it's not like connected in the sense of you can just walk across what's going on. You can teleport across to the land, but you can't really walk across or see what's, if your neighbor is Pixel, you can't really look over the fence and see what Pixel is up to, right? So they're all sort of separate instances. Kind of think of it like Fortnite, when they play those Fortnite games, you jump into everyone's sort of playing them concurrently. They're happening separately on separate servers. Now, there is some fundamental differences in terms of how they operate from the back end as well. Now, Sandbox has the Sand token, Decentraland has the Mana token. They both have virtual land. You can both build different types of experiences on each land, but structurally they're very different. So Decentraland, I put out this thing here saying investment thesis for Mana token. Now this was like a year ago, August 13th, 2020. So I put this out a year ago. But basically, I told you, I mentioned a bunch of different things, how mana is a little bit different. So we'll talk about that, and it'll show you why this is different to Sandbox. Now, mana is the in-world currency of DCL, same like Sandbox, nothing different there. Now, how it worked was they held an ICO at the very early 2017. 161 million mana was spent. $30 million at the time was spent buying land at the original land auction. So people went across and bought the land. What they did with the land was they burnt the mana. So $30 million worth of mana was spent. At the time, that was 161 million mana. Sorry, 30 million USD. And then they had another auction, now $6.6 million at the time, 109 million mana was burnt. So two different auctions, two different massive chunks of mana were burnt. And so they've got this burning mechanism. And then 333 million mana was burnt by the team. Then they've got the names section where every name that's claimed in Decentraland. So if you go to Decentraland and you go to the marketplace, and then you scroll down, you can kind of see names, right? So people can actually buy different types of names. It can be Neo, it can be John, right? And he's got asshole, asshole, right? Yeah, he's got asshole. He's got douchebag. They're trying to sell names, and you can sell names as well. But each time someone claims a name from scratch, 100 mana are burnt. So there's that mechanism. So they've actually got burning mechanisms throughout their platform when people are buying and selling and all sorts of things. Now, mana, now they've also got a DAO. So DCL DAO owns 222 million mana. The DAO is basically what people use to propose. So if you go to Decentraland forum, you can see people here proposing things. So they're saying, okay, well, why not we add, can I approve my hoodie wearable? Can I, should we, do VR? You can see 12 hours ago, this proposal was submitted. 10 hours ago, largest online party. You can actually propose to get money from the DAO. The DAO is a bunch of capital that is set aside, a bunch of mana that's set aside from Decentraland that you can actually tap into as a user. So how much money do they have set aside? It's actually pretty insane. They have 222 million mana for the next 10 years that's set aside, and 22 million mana will be unlocked every year, which means at $5 mana, about 100 million freaking dollars is available this year to tap into. So they've got that. Sandbox has a similar thing. Current total supply according to mana contract, 2.2 billion. Risk is heavy, susceptible to BTC and Ethereum movements. This was back then. Mana movements impact decentralized marketplace. My strategy is hold a big bag of mana and actively help build the platform. The storage, the stronger the mana token gets, the better it's going to be. 90,000 Decentraland land is 23 million square meters. So they have 90,000 lands in Decentraland. What else do I have here? Okay, so I don't really have the differences. So there's that in terms of the token. Now, in terms of structurally, Decentraland works differently. There's different servers. So what Decentraland does is it says, well, the content will be hosted by multiple people. So they've got different people. You can be a node and you can host the server content. So if Decentraland themselves decide to kill Decentraland, they actually can't do that. No one can kill Decentraland because it's decentralized hosting, right? People can host it, multiple people can host it at different times. So in that way, it's kept, the strength of it is kept. Also, it's got P2P communication. So when you are talking to someone, chatting with someone, voice communicating with someone, you're actually not going through the server, you're talking to them directly. So no one can really spy on what you're saying. So there's that, and then there's the DAO. Now, Sandbox and Decentraland is really open to sort of build anything, conferences, all sorts of stuff, and you can probably fit thousands of people in your land. Sandbox sort of has a limit, but Sandbox has the benefit. So this is where there's a trade-off. Sandbox, what they've done is because they're separate instances, there's way better graphics and smoothness. So with the Sandbox, when you're in these Metaverse clubs or whatever, and you're playing games, it's extremely smooth. You can have higher graphics. You can have way more gamified experiences, and that's why they've gone with this play-to-earn gaming mechanism where you can build games and earn tokens, and they're really going for the play-to-earn model because they've centered their whole thing around that, right? So that's the two major differences. In terms of the brand powers, they've got multiple brands that have come and set up shop. You can see Sandbox is owned by Animoca Brands, so they are bringing in their IPs. Animoca Brands have worked with multiple brands before, so Shaun the Sheep, Atari, The Walking Dead, all sorts of things, and they're bringing them into the Sandbox because the Sandbox is kind of owned by Animoca Brands. They've got Gemini, so they've got some massive brands that have set up a position here, and the largest lands here are 576 parcels, each one being $10,000, $13,000 each. Currently valued at $6 million plus, probably $6 to $10 million. You can see even the Metakey, which is our company that has a massive land here and will be building play-to-earn experiences. But you know, for me, what it is kind of being exposed to both. I think they both will exist simultaneously. I think Sandbox will go on to have multiple people building gaming experience. I think Decentraland, due to the openness nature of it, will have conferences, HQs, and people doing all sorts of other stuff and holding clubs and massive events like that. I know I'm in the works of building some stuff there and games in the Sandbox. But both have seen insane volume. You can see both of them are trending in the top 2. Sandbox has seen way more volume than Decentraland. And I think it's because of the clarity of what you can actually purchase there. In terms of the prices, you can see the cheapest, the floor price for the Sandbox currently is 0.7 ETH. The floor price for Decentraland is 3 ETH, or 3.8. Even though they have about the same amount of land, Decentraland is seemingly more expensive. Oh no, the floor price 0.7 ETH. I think that is for the items. So there's also items here that are for sale. So if you go, you know, price lowest to highest, and you go buy now, yeah, 2,000 would be about 3 ETH. So they're about the same in terms of the floor price of both big virtual worlds. All right, because I've got items here, the floor price is skewed wrongly. All right, so there's that as well. And then there's also the future. So what does the future look like? In my opinion, Sandbox is going to have massive brands, massive games. Decentraland will be VR, kind of open, running conferences, all sorts of fun stuff, and clubs and things. I think the future is looking extremely bright. If you go to the activity with the Sandbox, you can kind of you can zoom out and see a bit of an outlook as to how it played out. And people saw people coming in, buying lands. And recently, with Standard Matter going nuts and Metaverse going nuts, people have come in and bought a shit ton of land. It's been insane. 2,000 Ethereum a day, or 2,500 Ethereum a day is about $10 to $15 million plus of land being sold there. Decentraland don't have activity graph here, but you can see pretty much every hour 4 to 5 lands are being sold. So a ton of volume coming in. $15,000 a piece is not cheap. People coming in to buy land at $15,000 a piece. So if you're a brand and a major brand that's kind of watching this, reading this, and you've got a major play, you want to take a big position, then get in touch with me. I broke a land, I own some land. These are some lands that I have access to. I've got some of the best land in Decentraland. I can probably get some land in the Sandbox. And I can cut these into chunks. And what I'm thinking of doing is building mini cities. So actually, you know, hooking up with, you know, some big brands, Atari, whichever games that want to come in, and building about 10 to 15 different games over here, or selling 10 to 15 different similar niche projects over here, whether it be artists. What I did with this land here is this land as well we own, but we chopped it up, and we made different art collectors bought land there. So these are lands that I own, the orange ones, or have access to, so I can cut them up and sell them at anyone pretty much at floor price, except for these two. These are two really, really expensive ones because they're directly connected to Genesis Plaza. So if you want to buy land, of course, you can come through me. If not, you can go to Decentraland and buy it straight from there. If not, you can go straight to Discord and you can find the land trading channel. And people are buying and selling quite frequently all sorts of land. All right, guys, that is it. Just a few words on Decentraland versus Sandbox. What's the differences? What's going on? And the future of what they may look like. Take care and follow me on Twitter. I do a bunch of different stuff. I tweet a lot on Virtual Land, DCL blogger. Take care, guys.